So you see a big breakout, you buy, you pile in, and then it just immediately sells off. I mean, to me, it's not bad luck. A lot of people think it's bad luck, or they think they're just the market hates them. It's just a false breakout. Now, before you chase another breakout, learn how to spot the fakes and know what to look for the high probability stocks that have a good chance of continuing. So this really is, a breakdown of any time during the day. Okay, this could be pre-market, it could be midday, it could be afternoons, it could be after hours. Like, we trade breakouts, it's a very bullish market all the way through the day. So what we're looking for when it comes to a breakout, you never want to chase the initial big move, okay? That's the big thing that people kind of mess up with this. They see a big gainer, they want to pile in, and then it instantly reverses because you're not waiting for some sort of signal to enter. You just see big candles, big moves, and you're like, oh man, it's gonna double again. I gotta get in. That's big, definitely watch for that. You never have to enter. You should always, like, this is kind of more of a mindset thing. You should never feel rushed to enter anything. Now, I know what you're gonna say. You're like, well, I don't wanna miss the big move. But that impulsiveness is what gets so many traders in trouble. You have to understand, no one trade is gonna make your career. Now, one trade can end your career, but no one individual trade is going to make your career. And when I say that, understand that missing isn't a bad thing, okay? If you miss a trade, I call it the bus station analogy, because what's great about the markets right now, it's so hot. Like it's nothing like it was the first decade of my career, 2006 to 2016. We would spend months waiting to see the type of moves we see before the market even opens right now. Like, there is so much opportunity, high price, low price, mid price, ETFs, crypto, like there's just so much opportunity out there. Now, like, I think back when I was getting started 20 years ago, like, I felt like I had to trade every big mover because we might go 3 days with nothing moving. Like, it was that much different. So I'm kind of jealous of you guys these days. Like, it was way harder getting started back then than it is now. But hey, I'm here to help. Get excited by the opportunity. So you never have to feel rushed to buy anything. You can always be willing to miss, but always be thinking about being a real trader, being disciplined, and waiting for the stock to set up. So let's talk about, you got that big move. What we're looking for when we're trying to trade breakouts is you want to look for several things. Love to see multi-day breakouts, okay? When we're talking about buying breakouts, if it's only a spiker on the intraday chart, you're really not putting the odds in your favor. You want to see it breaking out on multiple time frames. So obviously the intraday, but also the daily, even the weekly, monthly, and then another intraday chart that I like to use is the 2 month, okay? So what you want to do when you see that big gainer is you want to jump back to previous time frames and longer time frames to look for resistance levels, because this is what trips up a lot of people. They see that big gainer, they only have the intraday chart, they don't see yesterday or last week or the month before or 6 months ago where this stock spiked right into that point and failed, because they don't go back and look. Like, the beauty of charts is there are historical data set, and it drives me nuts when people don't use that. And it's a tool, and if you're not using previous time frames and multiple time frames, well, odds are you're just going to buy a failed breakout. And then you do go and look at the longer term chart, you're like, oh man, 2 months ago this stock did the exact same spike, went to the exact same level, and fell apart. Now, if you're looking at those time frames, you're going to be cautious, and you're going to be like, whoa, I'm not going to buy this until it can clear those overhead resistance levels. So use your multiple time frames, and what I want you to do, instead of chasing that move, is wait for some sort of pullback and a base, okay? So instead of trying to join this trend, getting all filled with FOMO, fear of missing out, getting all impulsive, hands are sweaty, mom's spaghetti, as Eminem would say, you can sit there, wait for it to put in some sort of pullback to give you an area to actually trade off of. So now we can use that consolidation zone And this is going to vary on the volatility of the stock. If it's a penny stock, it might only be a couple minutes. If it's a mid-cap stock, it might be 10 to 15 minutes. And if it's a large cap stock, you might be looking at hours of consolidation. So treat your stocks accordingly. You're looking for, penny stocks. We love them because they move fast, but they also, when they turn fast. So you're only looking for a little bit of consolidation. If it's a mid-cap stock, you can kind of extend that time frame, and then a lot of the large caps will gap on news, pull back and consolidate for hours and really sometimes even days. So take that into consideration when you're looking for your timing of the consolidation area. Then we're simply going to be looking for lifts off of that range of consolidation. Now, this is where you use your lines, okay? All of you should be doing basic technical and support, technical analysis. So use that the bottom end of that consolidation zone. And this really applies to any time frame. I like to use 5-minute charts, but this works for 1-minute charts. You just want that consolidation zone, and then you're going to kind of average the range with your support line. Now, technical analysis is an art, not a science. So, obviously, basically what you're trying to do is pick the middle of that zone, because that's going to give you the average price the stock is traded at. It's going to trade higher, it's going to trade lower, it's going to trade at the line, but you're trying to average out all of the buying and the selling while it consolidates. So then that area becomes your risk, because now you're going to stop out if it fails to continue, and then you're just going to look for lifts out of that consolidation zone for your buy point. So what this does is it gives you a risk, gives you an entry, you don't chase the initial move, and the second test, now some of you guys are new, the secondary move is typically much more reliable and more forceful than the initial move. So now you've stacked the odds in your favor and you've joined that second leg, because when people see that reclaim, so like let's say these are our volume candles in the morning, you'll have big volume. You need the volume to push the stock higher. But what you'll often see, and I'll do my best to represent this, is once it breaks that second leg, you'll see like the biggest volume candle of the day, because now you're joining all the people that are patient. You're not joining the FOMO bros, as I call them. You're not joining the chasers. You're not the only one watching this. Like this particular second leg pattern, out of all the patterns I use and teach, like some of mine are, some people are like, oh, I've never heard of that, or oh, I've heard of, rumors of that. But like this, everyone knows this. Like every single, long-term day trader and swing trader is waiting for this type of setup. So you will get those big volume confirmation, and then that gives you confidence. Now, if you see the opposite, like I'll switch to blue. Now, if you see something like this, when it breaks out, that's a red flag, because if it's trading the equivalent buying and selling to the initial move, the odds are this one fell under the radar, but when I say everybody's buying it, evidently they forgot it. Maybe there's another big mover that day, maybe there's something going on in the market, maybe the market's selling off, okay? So you want to see that big volume relative to the initial move, because that's your confirmation that the second leg is in. Now, nothing's guaranteed, but with that support level, you have a nice tight stop, and then you can let that stock ride that volume to the upside. Love this pattern any time of the day. Like I said, pre-market, middle of the day, afternoons, after hours even. A lot of these will kind of get sneaky in after hours, but if you can identify that consolidation zone and the breakout of that zone, instead of chasing the first move and buying that fake breakout, because most the big reason I'm doing this video, most initial breakouts fail. That's why you're frustrated. You're like, oh, every time I buy a breakout, I fail. That's because you're buying the initial instead of the confirmation and the second leg. Now, if you trade this one, your win rate goes up, your risk to reward goes up, and you can actually build a trade plan. Like you've got an entry, you've got a stop, and you can then extrapolate out your goals from there, instead of the first breakout just buying and hey, hopefully it goes higher. That being said, my friends, have you heard buying breakouts doesn't work? Like that's one of the classic fallacies of trading that drives me nuts. Oh, I never buy breakouts. Well, it's because the reason you keep getting stuffed, you know, maybe you've heard that term, oh, I got stuffed on the breakout, is because you're not waiting for the second leg. You're chasing the initial move. And if you recall, 2 minutes ago, I said 90% of initial breakouts fail. Like there's just not enough volume, there's not enough interest to continue that stock higher, where the second leg increases your odds, increases your success, you can write a trade plan, and now you're not a FOMO bro. So let me know in the comments. Before this video, were you scared of breakouts? Are you a little more confident in them? And that being said, if you want to get more confident in your trading, you want to learn more patterns, you want detailed instructions on these patterns and these setups and exactly what to look for, you can click that link below. Check out the Daily Income Trader System. I'd love to mentor you every day.